going on, everyone? Welcome back into the Dairyland Drive podcast. Collin, Mike, and Riley. The bye week is over. Packers game week is back. I hope all Packer fans took a much-needed breath of fresh air. Got away for a weekend. Didn't worry about any green and gold news whatsoever. Let's put the last couple weeks behind us. Let's move forward. We got a winnable game coming up. We're gonna break it all down here in a little bit, in a familiar face that the Packers might face for the second time here in a few weeks. So just got weirdly interesting or weirdly intriguing potentially. I don't know what words you want to use. But anyways, Mike, Riley, how the heck did you spend your bye week? No, at least Packers on Sunday, but there was still some good football overall Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. But what'd you guys do in your bye week to pass time week 4?
Yeah, watched a lot of football, a lot of baseball. I gotta tell you, sometimes these bye weeks they make me question why I'm a Packer fan. Just watching football and sports, having a stress-free weekend. Packers just give me anxiety every week, and I don't know. I like just watching and not having to worry.
Yeah, definitely. We're probably all way too emotionally invested, but yeah, same. College football all day Saturday, NFL Sunday, soccer in the mornings. Yeah, pretty chill weekend. That's just all I did. Fucking Billy Napier he just can't die at Florida. Like all of a sudden, Dallas Wilson, this true freshman receiver that's been hurt all year, shows up, and of course, he's the fucking going to be a top 5 pick, and he's just a fucking man-child, and he's just going to save the season by himself. So that's great.
Since we're on that topic in that game, are we to the point where like Arch might not get drafted? Like he might be like a freaking undrafted guy or late draft pick if he keeps going the trajectory that. Have you I'm assuming you watched him. I'm assuming you watched the majority of that game. He was awful.
I didn't watch any of it.
The backup came in the final drive and threw like a dime to like get him. What was that, like a 30-yard pass? And then Arch comes in and just basically throws the game away. I mean, he was awful bad. Like obviously the hype of first round pick is like at least this upcoming year. I don't know, man. I just don't know if he's got it. Like you can just look at a guy and see if he's got it. I just don't know if he's got it, and we've said it.
It's not even guaranteed he's going out the draft after this year. I mean,
I'm just in the future. I'm talking about like fucking 2 years from now, maybe.
Oh, give it some time. Good God.
I don't know how high the ceiling is.
I think he'll get drafted. It's still, like I said the first time, it is a huge fucking deal to me, the fact that this is his 3rd year and he's just he's sat and learned. And Sark still does not trust him to fucking audible at the line. So until he starts doing that, and yeah, he'll get drafted just because of he's a good athlete and he's got an arm, but like, fuck, he doesn't. I said he does not see it. And Sark still far into the season. He's sat for 2 years. Like, fuck, he doesn't get it. Like, he just does not get it, doesn't see it. I don't know. Their offense is very plain.
I'm just saying. I'm just throwing it out there. Well, like, yes, will he get drafted? But let me say, like, the first day, I don't think he's a first-day prospect right now for sure. Like a first-round prospect. I think he's like having a tough time staying on the radar for Thursday and Friday. But I guess we'll see. Maybe he'll go on a tear the last half of the season and turn things around. But it's a long road. It's a long road for him.
Yes, it is.
So, but all right. Well, let's talk a little Packers, I guess. We'll get back to college football because I know there was a couple interesting games, a couple of teams that I think are officially dead now, but we'll get to that here in a little bit. Yeah, first thing I want to bring up, and this is just from my perspective. We've talked about this the last couple episodes, just the no identity on offense, how there really hasn't been like a steady flow, and LaFleur just having trouble kind of just having like his go-to, whatever you want to call it, philosophy, scheme, whatever word you want to use. The first 2 games I watched this weekend, the Thursday night game and then the Sunday morning game, was like frustrating watching like competent head coaches that are offensive minded, like Riley brought up last week, and just how much smoother and how much more efficient and effective their offenses are. Like freaking Mac Jones with the 49ers last Thursday night. Like that offense, I thought looked a lot more just, I don't know. I don't know what the word I'm looking for. I want to keep saying smooth, but maybe that smooth isn't the word I'm saying. It just looked, I don't know. Obviously, that goes back to the head coach and Shanahan. And then, God, Kevin O'Connell, like how brilliant of a mind he is to, like, I mean, the Browns are still a good defense. We know that as Packer fans. Freaking Carson Wentz beats them, also hobbled around and what he's able to do. So, very frustrated around the NFL. And like you said, it was a chance to just like enjoy watching football, but also it's like, man, like I don't see the Packers like looking like this right now. Can they eventually get there? Of course they can. If they get healthy on the offensive line and maybe Watson coming back and some other pieces, but I don't know. Like it seems like there's a pretty sizable gap right now with some of those like top offenses and where the Packers currently are. And yes, I know there's a lot of factors in it, but do you guys have that same feeling or do you disagree? I know we've kind of broken down the Packers offensive struggles a little bit these last couple of weeks, but that was just kind of my takeaway of looking. I know, and maybe it's not fair, but like the Sean McVay offenses, the Kevin O'Connell offenses, the Mike Shanahan, like those are all the same guys that Matt LaFleur is supposed to kind of at least take bits and pieces from all those three guys of coming under that tree. I just don't see any of the Packers offense currently, or not a ton in like any of those guys. So I don't know. I just want to get your take on it. Where you kind of, if you were just able to kind of just enjoy football and watch like a mass amount of games on Sunday, where do you view kind of compared to like what we've seen with the Packers and maybe some of these other, top teams, in the NFC specifically? Because I know those are three NFC teams that I brought up, but to me, it just seems like there's a little bit of a gap right now, at least on the offensive side of the ball, from what I've seen, maybe just like passing the eye test.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder if like LaFleur, like he trying to shuffle like the offensive line, trying to get that figured out, trying to figure out like which receivers to play, how much they should play. I mean, I just wonder like if he's kind of in his head a little bit, trying to figure all that out, honestly, and that could be like a big thing of why uh, they're so like up and down these first couple 4 weeks. Um, I don't know. It's gonna be interesting to see then, like once Christian Watson returns, how is he gonna bring him back into the fold? And Zach Tom, and like how are they gonna settle the offensive line? I don't know, man. I think he's got a lot on his plate, and I think like he's in his head a little bit. But I mean, we've seen it in the past. Like Love's first year starting, like they were up and down that first like half of the season, and they figured it out. So I think they can figure it out. Um, but we'll see.
Yeah, kind of go off what Mike said at the end there. To me, he just doesn't, and I said it, he just doesn't trust Jordan Love. This is a head coach or an offensive coordinator, whatever the fuck you want to call him, that just doesn't trust his quarterback. Like, it's plain and simple. Like, he just does not let him just sit back and sling it. He's afraid to call stuff. He only has a limited playbook for whatever reason. So yeah, I don't. The entire Vikings offensive line is basically dead. More beat up than the Packers and Carson Wentz, and they just said, "Fuck it, let's throw it," and that's what they did, and that's how they won. Same thing with Mac Jones, like banged up offensive line on the interior. It's Mac Jones. He has literally zero receivers, like literally zero. They're in their fifth and sixth receivers. So shuffling the receivers, the offensive line, blah blah blah. It doesn't like he just doesn't trust Jordan Love. Like it's to me, it's that plain and simple. Like Mike said, it goes back to like his first year, and LaFleur admitted to like he was like basically like just trying to baby feed him like through the first part until he got into it, and like it's like okay, well, why are we still doing that? And that's what the offense looks like. So LaFleur doesn't trust Love, which is what I'm going with, or he doesn't trust himself. Which if he's that bad, like he should probably be a good head coach and not call plays. But I'm assuming he's confident in himself, like all offensive guys are. So to me, it just literally, yeah, he just does not trust Jordan Love for whatever reason. I don't know what he's seeing at practice or maybe it's in meetings and Jordan Love's just like not getting the checks and stuff, like in meetings, like he's testing him and he's not getting it. I don't know, but he doesn't trust him.
Yeah, and I think the frustrating part too is like you look at like on paper talent wise, like compared to some of the teams I just talked about, like the Packers are more talented or just as talented like at every position that the 49ers currently are. That the Vikings, maybe, with the exception of potentially Justin Jefferson, obviously a big target to go to, but like just across the board, yes, they've had a banged up offensive line, but the skill position players are there. You got a top 7, 8 running back in the NFL, and Josh Jacobs, apparently a quarterback that's supposed to take that. So it just doesn't make sense to me, like you said. And I agree. It seems so simple right now. And when is that going to get turned up a little bit? Is that Christian Watson coming back to potentially add another downfield threat and another weapon? I don't know how long it'll take him to get his legs officially like back to game speed. Is it going to help when you get a healthy Zach Tom back at the very least? So you have both, both the tackles kind of, anchored and feel good about that. I know there's been just a shift of pieces on the interior, and that's a completely different story. But it seems like Zach Tom's pretty important to this offense of what they want to do and maybe what they're able to do in terms of getting the ball downfield. But yeah, I don't know. That's something that I want to see this upcoming Sunday because the Bengals defense has like a lot of holes and a lot of weaknesses in it. We've seen it like the last 2 weeks of them just what are they giving up 30, 40 points almost these last 2 weeks in both losses. To me, there's no reason that the offense should just be like Matt LaFleur says, all gas, no brakes, and get back on track, so to speak, and see some more explosiveness. But I guess time will tell. On the other side, I don't know, watching across the league still too, and I'm just trying to eye test with some of these other like top NFC teams specifically because the Eagles struggled on both sides of the ball. I thought, and they're seem to think that they're the team to beat in the NFC. The Lions are playing like well, but the Lions had a tough time putting the Bengals away. Like the Bengals just kind of kept hanging around. I know it was still a couple of scores, but it wasn't like your typical Lions beat the crap out of them and ended early. Defense still seems like it's still there though. From just looking at these other teams, I still think they're going to be okay. I don't know how big of a worry is Devontae Wyatt potentially missing some time on the interior. We had worked out 5 defensive tackles earlier this week. Does that change the defense quite a bit? I don't know if Riley, you want to start this one. Like, what's that look like, or do you think we have guys that are just going to kind of fill in and step up? What's that kind of look like? Maybe with a Devontae Wyatt in the interior, they're at tackle, missing some time, and some of these other guys.
I mean, he's by far the best interior pass rusher, but like in the run game, I mean, Stackhouse is better than him in the run. So like, I don't think it's going to be noticeable at all. He's not like a dominant inside 3 tech. You got Carl Brooks, Kobe Wooden can come in and play. We'll finally get to see Brinson. So like, I mean, they still have 4 capable guys, and then like I said, it's not like he's like some all pro defensive tackle. So yeah, I think on pass situations, and maybe we'll see Van Ness inside more with the bye week, this injury, perfect time to work him in there at like a 3 tech and 3rd and long. So yeah, so I honestly don't think you'll really even notice that he's not there.
Mike, on just a Packers fan standpoint, like, yes, it might be Jake Browning. Yes, it might be Joe Flacco. We don't know who's going to be the starting quarterback, but you have to still be at least a little bit worried that they have maybe arguably the best receiver in football, one of the best receivers in football, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, a decent like running back in Chase Brown. They have some weapons over there, like skill position wise. I don't think they're like certainly a slouch. Like, yeah, you got to get them the ball, but it certainly isn't going to just be a walk in the park of like the defense just has to show up on Sunday and they'll be fine. I think they're still going to have to come ready to play, feed off the crowd, and still put together a pretty good game with some of the skill guys they have, right?
Oh yeah, if they don't show up, like really like try and put in big effort, they're gonna make Joe Flacco or uh Jake Browning look like freaking Boomer Esiason out there, or Joe Burrow. I don't know. I think Boomer Esiason was pretty good when he was with the Bengals, wasn't he?
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Like It just seems like every time this team plays someone, like they play to the level of their competition. So I'm kind of skeptical at the moment. Like I just expect one of those, whoever it is playing quarterback, to do better than they should. Um, I don't know. We'll see.
Is this finally the week that we sign someone outside of the organization, outside the Packers, to just return punts and return kicks? Or do you think it's still going to be a by committee thing here moving forward? Do you think if they would have done it, they would have done it already?
Yes.
So just
No, they're too
They've had-
stubborn. Go ahead.
They've had 52 guys in their roster for fucking 2 weeks now, which tells me that Christian Watson's gonna get activated and play this week. That's the only reason that makes any logical sense to why they just haven't signed anybody, is because they knew Watson was gonna be back, and like that's what they're waiting for. Otherwise, why the fuck is there not a 53rd person on the roster? Like, I don't know. So that's the plus side. That's my positive side. I'm pretty sure we're gonna see Christian Watson in the field this week. Yeah, I don't know what they're doing in punt returns. I have no idea who they're putting back there. No, absolutely zero clue.
I don't think they
Whoever it is, it's going to be the wrong decision.
100%. Why? And again, I know he plays 100% of the snaps now on defense, and he's your cornerback one. But like, why can't Keyshawn in some capacity at least do something in the return game? Like, because he's the most comfortable and most confident. Like, even if it's just a fair catch, and like, let's not like give us heart attacks of like someone almost getting a concussion spinning into the defender, or fair catching inside the 5-yard line and setting up for like shit field position. Like, just get somebody that's like confident back there, because it doesn't seem any of these guys are like confident at the moment. I know, yeah, that's probably what Jaden Reed maybe was, at least in the punt return game. I know he kind of had his like things and issues every once in a while, but yeah, I don't know. Like, we maybe to an extent thought special teams was like lower on the Packer fan worry list when we had a competent kicker and a competent punter, but my goodness, is that furthest from the truth. We still have the same special teams coordinator, and just like the units overall are a little shaky right now, and I think we're back in the boat of like any field goal we kick, any like punt return, we're just like holding our breath of like something bad's going to happen at this point, which it sucks, but that's just the reality that we live in. But one more thing before we get to Lambeau Lines. So you think Watson's going to play? I know he kind of, I don't know what to say, like dumb play, but he made it sound like he was trying to like get his legs back a little bit more, game speed, and he was maybe eyeing next week. So you potentially think you could see him activated in some like limited capacity in this offense? You wouldn't be surprised?
Just that's the only thing in my head that like the Packers are generally known for like being a smart organization. I don't know why you would keep going into weeks with literally one fucking less player that you could possibly use. So Jaden Reed got hurt. They didn't replace him. They didn't sign another receiver. They didn't do anything. They haven't filled the spot at all. And they have a receiver sitting there waiting to be activated. So it makes sense to me. Otherwise, I just don't know like why are we playing with one less guy every week? Like the guy that could be, I don't know. It just doesn't make any sense to me. Like putting those together, I don't know. That's the only thing that makes sense in my head.
I agree with Riley that it doesn't make sense that they're going like with one less person on the roster, but I don't agree that he's going to be back this week. I think they're gonna give him another week or two yet, because he has that 21-day practice window before they either have to put him on the roster or put him on the shelf for the year. I just think they're not a organization that rushes a player back to play. I mean, this is his first week back practicing. I don't expect that they'll put him out there right away this week. I think it's gonna be another week or two yet.
And maybe I'm missing, because I don't have social media, but have we heard anything about Marshawn Lloyd? Is he
No.
no word whatsoever where he's at in his recovery, if he plans on coming back in any capacity? He's just at this point, we're just assuming that he's not going to have any impact on this roster, and we'd be pleasantly surprised if he does. That's probably the boat that we're in, I'm guessing. But yeah, I don't know. Haven't heard
development so
haven't
far.
heard anything on that end. I think Christian Watson's a big one. But before we spoil
We have
anything away,
Emmanuel Wilson. We don't need Marshawn Lloyd.
that is true. Emmanuel Wilson is played well. Played well in that number 2 role and solidified that for sure. So, all right, before we give anything else away, let's go to Mike in this week's Lambeau Lines to fill in some blanks. The floor is yours.
All right. So last week we kind of discussed first kind of quarter of the season. Now we'll kind of quickly look ahead to this next quarter of the season. So next 4 opponents we have Bengals at home, Cardinals on the road, Steelers on the road, Panthers at home. So, first one, Packers record over those next 4 games will be blank.
Or no.
I think it has to be 4-0 if like you're a true like contender in the NFC. I'm a little worried about the Steelers game. I don't know why, but that's like the one that if they were to have a loss, that's where I would probably put it at. I'm pretty confident, maybe overconfident in the 2 home games because I think they're a different team at home. The Cardinals just lost to the Titans and looked like just collapsed worse than the Packers did. So I think it'll be 4-0. I hope it's going to be 4-0, but the Steelers game put an asterisk next to it. I think that's a big one.
Yeah, I think anything less than 3-1 is going to be an utter disappointment, big time.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we've talked a little bit about how the Packers defense hasn't really forced too many turnovers so far this year, only 2 on the season. That was kind of a big point of emphasis during the offseason with Jeff Hafley. We know Jake Browning, Joe Flacco, kind of turnover machines here. Offense hasn't looked great from Cincinnati's standpoint so far. So next one, Packers will force blank turnovers this week against Cincinnati.
I'm gonna go. I'll go 2. I think
In what fashion?
I think they get their first sack fumble, for first strip sack of the season. I think they get 1 interception, at some capacity because I do think it's going to be Joe Flacco. And yeah, we'll see what we get for Flacco, but he'll make at least 1 mistake. I say 2.
Yeah, copy and paste everything Colin just said. The Bengals offensive line, especially their tackles, are terrible. And they're gonna one of these 2 guys are gonna throw one because if Flacco does start, the offense can't be. It's just gonna be all right. Where the fuck's Jamar Chase and T Higgins, and let's just chuck it, and he's gonna chuck it into coverage he shouldn't at some point in time.
All right, last one. The player or unit that should have a big day this week is blank.
Either side of the ball.
Either side. You can even go special teams if you want.
No, I'm not going special teams. I'm gonna say Josh Jacobs in the run game finally have a big day and get going. That's what I'm gonna say because I think LaFleur is gonna like try to emphasize it early and often. I think he's gonna have a 100-yard plus game and have a couple touchdowns. So I think at least him. I don't know if you can say the offensive line as a whole contributes to it, but I think Josh Jacobs for sure has a big game.
Yeah, I'll just go with the defensive line group in a whole. The Bengals offensive line is bad, and like I said, it's going to be limited on what Joe Flacco can do for checks and all their calls, and yeah, it's a big opportunity for the defensive line just to eat more than they already do. So that's what I'll go with.
All right, that's Lambeau Lines this week.
All right. Any closing thoughts on the Packers before we move on? What's the confidence meter on 1 to 10 going into this weekend after a bye week and a couple maybe disappointing games here? Where are we at?
Like 5.5.
5.5, like just for this game specifically, or just like the team?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. This is just every time this team just plays like to the level of their competition. And coming off a bye week, like, I don't know, man. Does the tie and the loss of the 2 games prior to the bye week, is it layering with them, or is LaFleur like able to like rally the troops and like, I don't know. I hope they do what they did the first 2 weeks at home, but I don't know. I've just seen too many Packer games where they play to the level of their competition.
For this game, I'll probably go up to I'll go to like an 8. Just the Bengals are bad, and Mike said, they've played incredible defensively at home. So I'm just gonna ride that train. And yeah, I don't know, unless Jamar Chase literally has 250 yards receiving, which I guess is possible. I just don't know how they would lose this game.
Yeah, if it was any game on the road, I would probably feel a lot more inclined to kind of go towards your level, Mike. But I think the sole fact that it's at home and the first home game in a few weeks, I feel like the crowd is going to be revved up. I'll be there. I'll be standing. I don't care what the rest of the section says. We'll be
Down in front,
probably, but no, I think this is a get right game for the offense, and hopefully the defense just feeds off the crowd like they did those first 2 weeks and kind of gets back on track. But we'll get to the full predictions later in final drive, but that kind of wraps up the opening drive there in Lambeau Lines with the Packers. So let's go 3 and out and go to the rest of the sports world. I know Riley's maybe going to hate this one. He's not a huge baseball guy, but we got to start on first down. The Brewers, 2 impressive wins against the rival Cubs, and it's just kind of a cool series overall because the Brewers obviously have struggled to kind of get over that hump these last few years that they've made the playoffs. They haven't got past the wild card round. So now they have an opportunity as the top dog in the National League. You're playing the Cubs, where you have home field advantage. You're playing your former manager, Craig Counsell, who obviously has gotten booed both the first 2 games. Every reason for the pressure to be all on them, and they didn't play like a team that was under any pressure. They played the exact same way I think that they've played really these last 3 months, where they've just been on a heater and a tear. Offense has been scoring, pitching's been good enough. But unless Riley wants to chime in at all, I'm going to mainly go to you, Mike, as a Brewers fan here.
He's got something to say.
I could say a smart ass count. Does this matter? They're gonna lose to the Dodgers anyways. Who gives a fuck? They're not gonna beat the Dodgers.
The Dodgers are a wagon. They're inevitable. That's the one thing I hate about the Dodgers is I feel like they're just inevitable. But I did not see this offensive outbreak. I think these first 2 games. I think that's been kind of the most impressive thing, and they've done it in different fashion. Game 1,
hit home runs apparently, as I was told.
Well, game 1 they did it, and then game 2 was obviously all home runs. So it's kind of cool that they've won and broken out in 2 different ways. But that's got to put a smile on your face as a Brewers fan, just with maybe the stress that the Badgers and the Packers have put on you here these last 4 or 5 weeks to kind of have two dominant wins here to start the postseason run, right?
Yeah, I mean, playoff baseball overall has been awesome so far, but the Brewers going up 2-0 on the Scrubs so far has been awesome to watch. Game 3 is going to be key, man. I think they got to get a win, or I don't know. I don't know how this team's going to react to if it gets to 2-2. That's a lot of pressure. So
yeah,
I think you got to get a win in game 3.
Yeah. The thing that's and again, I mean, there's been a lot of Cubs fans there, but I don't think it's as much as the regular season than some of those games were. But I think it's going to be tough to kind of equal that down in Wrigley, because that's going to be I think a pretty loud and just, I guess, loud crowd. We'll just say that. But thank goodness it's not an 8:00 start. Finally, it's still a weird time at 4:00, but I'll take 4:00 over 8:00 any day of the week. Not a fan of the 8:00 starts in the Midwest, but that's a whole different story. But Brewers.
Did you watch the game at all last night?
I watched all the way up to about the 7th inning or so, and then I lost it after that and fell asleep. So.
I cannot believe Mizrowski just pumping 104
Yeah.
one pitch after another. That is insane.
Yeah, he was feeling it when he just fielding his position, got the ball and just ran it all the way to first. You could tell he was on a whole different level of hype and a little adrenaline going. But
Oh yeah,
we'll see. Brewers up 2-0. Just need one more game to get to the next round. So, all right, let's go to second down. Penn State is dead, like dead now, right? Like, how do you come back from? Obviously, the loss to Oregon at home is like one level, but then losing to UCLA, like what is that? What does that do? Like, because Franklin's always been, he's never won the big game, right? He's never like gotten over that hump or gotten the monkey off his back. They've always just been like good, kind of like that second tier, but they've never gotten to that next level. What does like a loss like that do to like just like a program like nowadays? Nothing, or just kind of just a one time thing that just sucks in the moment. But I mean, obviously they're dead this year. Like they're not going to be get. You don't think they're dead this year?
If they win out and beat Ohio State, fuck no, they're getting into 10-2 easily. They're in the playoffs. They beat Ohio State and win out. This game was like everybody already hated James Franklin. This game to me does nothing. If they go undefeated and beat Ohio State, which they still play this year, they're 110% in the playoffs, and nobody's gonna remember this or care until James Franklin blows it in the playoffs again. Yes, I wish they were dead because I fucking hate James Franklin. I hate his like positivity and like awkwardness. But no, if they went out and beat Ohio State, no, unfortunately, somehow they'll fucking get. Well, not somehow. Ohio State's the best team in the country, and everybody knows that. So if they can win out and beat Ohio State, yeah, I think they unfortunately are in. So I don't even know if this game really mattered that much.
Is that game at Penn State or at Ohio State?
Ohio State, I think.
Okay. Yeah, no, I don't think they're dead yet. I think that's part of the 12-team playoff is 2 losses. You can still fight your way in. But I mean, yeah, one more loss, they're definitely out though.
Okay.
What's really gonna piss me off is if Illinois loses this weekend, like they probably will. But if Illinois they lose this weekend, they lose to Indiana and they lose to Penn State or lose to Ohio State, and then Penn State loses to fucking Oregon and UCLA. Who has the better losses? Illinois, and fucking Penn State will get in the fucking playoffs over. That's when you're gonna hear me fucking rage.
And
How much longer can James Franklin last though? At Penn State.
and that's kind of
How
like,
much longer are they going to tolerate that?
yeah. Because like they are, I mean, as much as they haven't gotten over the hump, they're still probably what, a top 10, top 15 program like in the country right now, and like it'd be a very desirable job if it became open. So like I agree, and that's kind of what I was getting at too, of like how long is the leash like after a loss like that? Like he almost has to like, and then you say if he wins out and beats Ohio State, it just kind of evaporates into air. But let's say if he does lose to Ohio State, they miss the football playoff after, what were they, preseason ranked number 2, right? Because Texas was 1 and Penn State was 2.
They're up there.
What does that kind of do to like his program or him just being at the program?
I just don't know how much, like, it should be a lot on him, but like at the same time, like, in going after how last year ended, like, I think a lot of this is going to go on like Drew Aller's just not very good, and that's what people are going to go into even more. Like, I think that's going to take some of the heat away from James. I think he's still going to get heat, but I think there's a lot of people that will be on like, yeah, Drew Aller's wasn't the guy. Like, so yeah, I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, wanted to talk third down. Staying in the Big Ten, couple big Big Ten games this upcoming week. We have Oregon and Indiana. We're going to see how good Indiana actually is, maybe. And obviously Illinois is hosting Ohio State. One, where you at with those two games? How big of implications do they kind of have for teams like Indiana and teams like Illinois who are still trying to, get eyes on them and sneak into the back end of that college football playoff? Or do you think this is just going to be a clean sweep of Oregon wins comfortably, Ohio State wins comfortably, let's move on to the next week?
It's at Ohio State.
It's at Illinois.
It's at Illinois. Well, I don't know. I just hope Oregon just wipes the floor with Indiana. Like, I can't stand that Indiana is getting all this run. I don't know. I just feel like they're not a team that should be good ever. Um, and until further notice, I'm a Duck fan because Wisconsin is just ass. So, Sco Ducks. Yeah, I mean, you guys know more about Illinois than I do, but I don't know. Is Ohio State just gonna roll in there like it's nothing and just
I
lay it on them, or
I've
how's
been
Illinois gonna
yeah,
do?
I've been trying to talk myself into like how does Illinois keep up with them? Do they want it low scoring or do they want it like just outscore them?
Right.
I don't know. I've watched this defense the last like few weeks and they're like the arrow is pointing straight down where I think they're at. Again, I don't think the offense is explosive enough to keep up with Ohio State, but I almost think that's what they have to do. I think they almost have to like outscore Ohio State, which is like a dangerous game because like no one usually outscores Ohio State. Like that's just never happens. But I just don't know. The defense just looks like I've had my issues with Aaron Henry and disagree with some of the stuff that he does on that side. You know, he's made like a little bit of an improvement, but I don't know. The defense has like just been very, very underwhelming this year, like overall from like what they were supposed to be and what level they were supposed to be at and be like the strength of this team. So yeah, I don't know. Like that's how crazy it is right now. Like I'm trying to talk myself into like I think they have to like getting into a scoring contest with Ohio State, and I just don't think that they can do that. So I just don't know how they're going to win unless the defense just comes up with something out of their ass of play out of their mind and force a couple turnovers. Like it has to be something like that. I think get the crowd into it. But it's cool that big noon kickoff is there, but I also wish this was like a night game just because I think it would like obviously ramp it up just a little bit. Not saying that going to Champaign is a tough place to play by any means, but certainly that would I think help a little bit maybe compared to what the 11 a.m. crowd will look like.
Yeah, to me, it just and if Illinois is going to keep it close, it's just going to come down to the offense and defensive line. If they can like play anywhere close to the opposing matchups of Ohio State, yeah, I think if the offensive line can play like they did last week and they can keep possession and I don't know, Altmaier's playing at a pretty high level. Beatty's pretty good. But yeah, it's defensive line. If Yakis can get any pass rush at all, we'll see. I'm having a hard time talking myself into it as well. And then the other side, I just don't know. I don't know what Oregon and Indiana are. I'm just gonna ride with like Oregon's Oregon, and I would lean that way because yeah, they're just Oregon. They look like their running backs look like they go three deep. They're studs. Quarterback Dante, whatever is more. He's solid and yeah, and just I don't know. Indiana going all the way to Oregon, that's kind of a flight. Like that's gonna suck travel wise. So I would say, and I don't even know how good Indiana is still. Like Illinois just didn't even show up that game. So I don't know. I would just tend to lead Oregon, but there's no chance I'm betting on that game at all because I have no idea.
All right, well that's three and out, some MLB and some college football. Mike, you got one more thing?
I just need to clarify. I said I'm a Duck fan the rest of the year, except for the week that they play Wisconsin. Just got to clarify that.
Of course. I wouldn't think anyone would expect anything less of that. So, all right. Well, let's go to the final drive. We have some games to pick this week. The Packers return. I don't know exactly how you guys did. Probably about the same as me. I went 2-2 this past week. Obviously, I only had 2 games that I picked with because I had my upset and my lock as the same. So, freaking Carson Wentz and Jordan Addison spoiled my 4-0 week. So I didn't really gain. Well, I didn't gain or lose any ground, I think, to either of you. Riley, how'd you do?
I won one, so you and me should be even now.
We're even now. So I did game, and so we're both 2 back on Mike now. So Mike's got a
nope,
just one.
You're only 1 back.
1 back.
I went 1-3. Riley went 1-3. You went 2-2.
Damn, freaking Browns would have pulled it out.
Yeah,
I know the Cardinals. What the heck?
Suck.
Yeah, so I'm 12-12-1. Both of you are 11-13-1.
Okay.
So just goes to show how tough picking NFL games is. Like
100%.
just
I will say, I am 5-0 on my locks so far this season, so I don't know if that means anything, but I'm kind of going as like the survivor pool mode right now is how I'm treating it. So I'm trying to keep that streak alive at least with my shit record. But all right, 5 games to pick this week. We have Packers, Lions, Bears, and then our lock and our upset. Remember, the lock, you cannot pick the same team that you picked the first 5 weeks. So let's start close to home here. The Packers return. I think they are still, last time I checked, I think they're still 14. Are they still 14 and a half right now over the Bengals?
Absurd.
Hey, we'll see. I have a feeling all three of us are going to pick them, but quick 10-second summary of why the Packers are going to beat the Bengals. I think, like I said, I think the run game gets going, and I think this is a just kind of get back on track for the defense using the energy from the whole crowd. I think they call. I think they win by more than two touchdowns. So that's where I'm at.
Jeez. Wow. I'm going with Packers. I'm not nearly as confident as you are that it's going to be that big of a blowout, but I think home cooking, I think they'll win. They're not going to cover though.
Yeah, I'm going Packers as well. I think the defensive line is just going to take over this game, and I'm with Collin. I actually lean towards them covering and bowling them out.
Part of that just hoping for that to happen because you're going to be there.
I feel like the last like 3 or 4 games we've gone to, I know they've played kind of like crap teams or crap situations. They've won by like 2 scores like almost every game we've gone to. So I don't know. I think it's just like a expectation.
We were at the Vikings game a couple years ago where the Vikings were good and they like 40 pointed them.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's go to, I believe is this the Sunday night football game or Monday night? I can't remember. Lions and Chiefs.
Monday night.
Chiefs, tough loss last night to the Jaguars with all the baseball going on. Lions kind of rolling right now ever since week 1's loss to the Packers. So, Mike, who do you got in this one, Lions or Chiefs?
I'm taking the Lions in this one. They're just on an absolute heater right now. I think they figured it out. Chiefs, I think the rest of the league is caught up to Mahomes and whatnot. So it's on the road, night game. Arrowhead's going to be loud, but I still think the Lions find a way to pull it out here.
Yeah, how in the hell are the Lions underdogs in this game? This is my upset also, by the way. I'm going Lions, but like I don't understand. Like I get that it's night at Arrowhead, but like the Chiefs just have not been good this year, and they're still like banged up, and yeah, they just on the skill play, like they have no running game. Pacheco is like he was so explosive a couple years ago, and he's just slowly faded. Like he's still okay. Travis Kelce is not anything. He just can't move anymore. And then the receivers until Rashee Rice comes back, it just seems like they're just dead. So I don't know. I would assume that the Lions defensive line is going to make Patty's day hell. So I'm going to go with the Lions, and then my upset as well.
Okay. Yeah, clean sweep Lions. I have the Lions over the Chiefs as well. Yeah, I don't know. I think they're back up there as maybe the team to beat in the NFC until further notice from what I saw from the Eagles' struggles this last week. So I have Lions over Chiefs as well. All right. Commanders, Bears. We know what happened this game last year. This was the Hail Mary victory for the Commanders and kind of the downfall almost of the Bears' entire season because they just went shit the bed completely after that with just loss after loss. What do we have happen this one? I believe it's at the Commanders, so the Bears are on the road. So we'll start with you, Riley. Who do you have in this one? The Bears coming off a bye week as well.
I go with the Commanders. Like they looked really good. Jaden Daniels being back last week. They started slow and then just are on fire the rest of the game. So yeah, I'm gonna go there.
I'm going with the Bears here. I struggled on this one. Commanders going from one coast back to the other this week. Bears getting a bye plus an extra day. Ben Johnson, I think he's going to figure it out this week. So give me the Bears.
Okay. I have Commanders. A lot of things that Riley just said as well. And I think McLaurin might be back potentially this week as well, or it's trending that he's be back, which I think would be extremely helpful. So, I have Commanders over Bears.
My other thing would be last year in the playoffs, Dan Quinn looked pretty freaking good against the Lions offense and Ben Johnson. So he seems to know how to fuck with him a little bit.
Cool. Let's go right to the upset. Riley already picked his upset, Lions over Chiefs. What? Why are you saying crap?
No, go ahead.
All right, so let's go to our upset here. I'll start. Mike can go to his. Yeah, I had a couple games I wanted to pick from, but I don't know. This just seems one that I can just see it happening. And it's just they shouldn't win, but I just could see them doing it. I'm gonna go 49ers or 2.5-point underdogs against the Buccaneers at the moment. So I'm gonna say the 49ers take down the Bucs. The Bucs are pretty much in close games every single week, or usually have to come from behind. I think the 49ers, like I said, they're just a team like on paper, like with how banged up they are right now, and we mentioned like their lack of healthy skill position players right now. Still look pretty competent on offense, and what they've been able to do, and the defense is still pretty good. So I'm going to do 49ers over the Bucs.
So I'm going to be making a pick on the spot here because I'm going back and forth between two games. The Lions and Chiefs one is one that I'm considering. That Lions being 2.5-point underdogs is a little freaky to me. It seems like Vegas isn't valuing the last couple wins for the Lions, beating bad teams, and it seems like they're not as worried about the Chiefs. At home Sunday night. The other game I'm considering is the Dolphins over the Chargers. So the Chargers traveling to the East Coast, early window game. I don't know. Chargers are banged up. I don't know. That Lions line is freaking me out, but I'm going to go with it. I'm going to take the Lions. That's my underdog here.
All right. So Riley and Mike both going Lions over Chiefs for their underdog. Doubling up. See if it works better for you than it did for me this past week. All right. That takes us to our locks of the week. I will get us started. I'm the only one that hasn't taken them of us three. Gonna get a happy member of the household and the rest of her side of the family. I'm taking the Broncos over the Jets in London for the Sunday early game. The Jets are just not good on both sides of the ball. They just suck. And the Broncos playing pretty good right now. And a very nice win at Philly, which the Eagles just seem like they never lose. And the Broncos really had no business winning that game, just what they were able to do in the fourth quarter. And then the balls by Sean Payton to go for two and just kind of how that changed the outcome was really cool to see. So Broncos, I'm using them as my lock this week. I hope that gets me to stay undefeated. So.
All right. My lock this week might be time to start putting some respect on this team's name. I'm going with the Colts over the Cardinals. Yeah. Cardinals, I don't know, that loss against who did they play this last weekend?
The Titans. Just
the Titans, yeah. Just completely melting down. Having to travel east now. Colts might be better than we thought, so give me the Colts for my lock this week.
Yeah, I'm going to kind of bounce off what Collin said about the Broncos. I'm going to go with the team if they beat, I think, Philly Thursday night game, Jackson Dart Giants. I don't know what they are yet. Thought, it might be something, and they show up and lose to the Saints last week. So I don't know, a short week getting ready for the Eagles, a pissed off Eagles team after everybody's kind of shitting on them in their offense. Saquon going, obviously playing the Giants. Like, I'm going with the Eagles over the Giants as my lock.
Okay. That's our picks of the week. Yeah, just remember that, Mike. Did you take the Giants over the Saints? So that was true.
They got up early too.
Yeah, I know.
And then
a couple touchdowns early, and you're like, this is on the bag, and yeah. But all right, well, that's our picks this week. All 5 games. If you want to comment and let us know what 5 teams you would pick in some of those games this week, see if you can do better than us. only can go up from here, right? Nope, that's not true. We could still get worse and go 0-5, I suppose. I hope it only gets better from here. Let's get above 500, string together some good weeks here. Maybe people put a little more respect to our names. But yes, NFL games are incredibly difficult to pick, I think, especially in the capacity we do it. So, all right, that is the final drive for this episode. Before I get to your guys' closing thoughts, got to give a shout out. Mike, I don't know if you saw, Riley obviously knows. Andrew Talbert officially verbally committed to North Carolina, Mike. I'm sure you'll like that one. So he's gonna throw on the blue, verbally committed right now. And let's not forget, North Carolina is a pretty good program. They were number 1 in the country for a good chunk this last year, going into the NCAA tournament or the whole postseason. So I think they finished in the top cell. Baseball, correct? Yep,
Okay.
baseball.
That's
So
true.
yeah. Yeah, not playing for Bill Belichick, I think, if he's even going to be there in a couple of years. But yeah, still pretty cool. So, yeah, congrats
Awesome.
on that, all the hard work paying off. So, and all the lifting at Ashley Elite too, and give a little shout out there. I'm sure that has something to do with it as well. So yeah, it'd be cool to kind of see how that plays out, and heck, be able to watch a lot of his games on TV when it comes down to it on the ACC network and some of the other things. So, all right, final thoughts, Riley. You had a nice win this past Friday, a big one in the not a good win in his eyes, but scoreboard wise, you got to win, but kind of another.
Fumbled 6 times and lost 4 of them. Fumbled 6 freaking times, a lot of 4 of them, but we still won by 3 scores, I guess. But yeah, we played like shit the last 2 weeks. I don't know what's happening, but they're gonna have to figure it out because we got back-to-back hard games here. So an L might be coming soon if we follow, which actually might be a good thing in my opinion, because we need to wake up before the playoffs start. So we'll see. Not the most positive the last couple weeks. My bright side is I'm gonna talk soccer. Fucking Bournemouth in the top 4 right now. I'm just gonna talk shit while I can before they crumble. Brighton and Villa are down there in 12th and 13th. I can't say anything to Mike. His team's up top, but yeah. And then international window here the next couple weeks. So I am just ready to be completely just fucking pissed off and hate the U.S. men's national team, like, because they're gonna lose both games. I already know they're going to. They're gonna somehow lose to Australia in the second one. Definitely gonna lose to fucking Ecuador on Friday nights or whatever, Saturday, whatever the hell it is. Oh no. So just fully prepared to just hate them again.
Mike, big W in the WIAC this past weekend. Little
Big.
free football that fans got to see, and it was a doozy. But the old UWL boys pulling off just a massive early season win to kind of set the tone for the coming season.
Yeah, it was ugly in the first half, down 17-0, but the boys rallied in the second half, pulled off a double overtime W down in Whitewater, beating them for the 3rd year in a row.
Yeah.
So that's big.
Which never happened.
Yeah, but still got 3 ranked opponents on the schedule here, so the WIAC is still going to be super tough. 2 of them on the road, so
yeah. So
we'll see.
Still a nice win, but you kind of have to put it behind you pretty quick, and like you said, move on, because there's a couple cupcake games in the WIAC, but majority of them are not, because there's a lot of good teams and really good teams there. So, yeah, I want to piggyback on soccer real quick. Thank goodness Aston Villa is finally scoring goals, making it a little more enjoyable to watch these last 4 games in the Europa League. They're 2-0, won both of those games, so that was nice to see. And then back-to-back wins in the Premier League. I know not against very good teams, but at least carrying a little momentum here in the international break window. So, Bayport, big game Friday against West Appear, who has probably the best quarterback in the state. I can't remember where he signed. He signed somewhere Division I, just can sling it. They got so much speed. So we will see how the Bayport boys hold up on the road against West Appear, probably one of the better games in the entire state. I would say, in Wisconsin on Friday night. So, all right. Well, that's all I have. Any other closing thoughts? No, we're good. Mike, what?
Have fun on
Say something.
Have fun on Sunday at Lambeau.
Good win.
I'm fully expecting a rant from Riley next Tuesday about how LaFleur sucks and Rich Bisaccia should be fired.
Probably. I would put the percentage of that pretty 75% plus, but I guess we'll see. Trying to think anything else. Covered a lot of the majority of the stuff. There was something on my mind and I was go out there, but we'll just leave it at that. But all right, well, everyone, thanks for listening in to the Dairyland Drive podcast. Keep giving us those 5-star reviews. Keep sharing it to your friends and family. Try to get as many listeners as possible. Start commenting. Been a little slow on the comments the last couple weeks, so some of our usual commenters are new ones. Don't be afraid. Yeah, we might rip you, but we'll have fun doing it. So just throw a comment out there. Try to stump us or give us something tough, or just tell us how we're doing. We like those comments and like going over them at the end. So, all right. As always, Collin, Mike, and Riley, thanks for listening to the Dairyland Drive podcast. We will see you next week.
Go Pack, go.